In life, we tend to look at athletes as role models, people that we look up to, people that can do no wrong. But as reality often teaches us, that is not the case. Not only are role models just as prone to imperfections as the rest of us, but sometimes even more so. Today in this video, we're going to look at some athletes that shattered that invulnerable veil of perfection by committing the most despicable, reprehensible cardinal sin to the average sports fan: cheating.
You blew it! You blew it!
So first up we have Sammy Sosa, aka Slammin' Sammy. By now, most sports fans are aware of the ill-fated steroid scandal that plagued the sport of baseball through the late 90s and early 2000s, and still arguably plagues the sport today. There were many highly notable names either suspected or outright busted for taking performance-enhancing substances. Sammy Sosa, sadly, was one of them. However, we're not here to discuss that aspect of Sosa cheating, since there technically isn't any on-video evidence of Sosa taking any illegal substances. Sure, you could argue his absurd statistics throughout the years backs up those claims, but I'm not here to do that today. Thankfully though, there is video evidence of Sosa cheating in another way. You see, on June 3rd, 2003, Sosa was ejected from a game between the Chicago Cubs and the then Tampa Bay Devil Rays. In the first inning of that game, umpires discovered that he had been using a corked bat. A corked bat is a specially modified baseball bat that's been filled with cork or other lighter, less dense substances in order to make the bat lighter. This, in fact, is a direct violation of Major League Baseball rules. Following this ejection, Sosa claimed that he had used the bat by accident, that it was a bat he only used during batting practice. Whether you believe it or not, it's still against the rules. 3 days after that ejection, Sosa was suspended for 8 games, later reduced to 7 on an appeal. As of the time of this recording, April 2020, Sosa is one of 6 Major League Baseball players ever to be suspended for using corked bats in a game. Me personally, I don't get it. If he was already supposedly using performance-enhancing drugs, why would he need a corked bat as well? His numbers were already off the charts at that point. But that's just this commentator's opinion. Hey, here's another good one for you, in the form of Joe Niekro. If you don't recognize the name, maybe you'll recognize the name of his brother, Phil Niekro. Yes, the Niekro brothers made a name for themselves utilizing that good old knuckleball pitch. With an arsenal of a fastball, slider, and knuckleball, Niekro managed to last 22 seasons in Major League Baseball. Now, with such a lengthy record of durability and success, one would think that Niekro would have no reason to engage in cheating behavior. Of course, cheating doesn't always follow a route of logic. On August 3rd, 1987, Joe Niekro was pitching against the then California Angels when one of the umpires began investigating Niekro for potentially doctoring the ball. For those who don't know, under Major League Baseball rules, and I quote, "No player is permitted to intentionally damage, deface, or discolor the baseball by rubbing it with any type of foreign item or substance." Now, normally, this refers to substances such as pine tar, saliva, or dirt. But in this game, none of those substances were involved. No, today's substance of choice was a nail file and sandpaper. You can see that Niekro tried to be stealthy here and play dumb, but fate had other plans, and once those items flew out of his pockets, that was it. He was ejected from that game and subsequently suspended for 10 games. When fans think of pitchers doctoring the ball to gain an advantage, they usually think of pine tar on the arm, or saliva, or dirt from the playing field. They don't usually think of a nail file. But Niekro did. His career lasted only one more season after this game, so perhaps he thought he needed an edge to extend his waning career. Regardless, take this as a lesson. Don't cheat. Or if you're going to cheat, don't do what he did. Up next, we have a somewhat unique entry into this video. For this entry, we take you to the 1988 Seoul Olympics. The 100-meter race is typically regarded as the most exciting 10 seconds of the Olympics. If you think of the 100-meter race today, you'll think of superstars like Usain Bolt. Unfortunately, the Olympics have long had their share of controversies, especially the 100-meter race, specifically in regards to the use of performance-enhancing substances. The 1988 race is not only no different, but it's regarded as one of the most despicable displays of cheating of all time. It's been dubbed the dirtiest race in history. 4 of the top 5 finishers of that race would be implicated in drug scandals. The 3 top finishers, Ben Johnson, Carl Lewis, and Linford Christie, all won medals for their respective finishes. And then complete chaos ensued. 2 days later, Ben Johnson was stripped of his medal by the International Olympic Committee following a positive test for the drug stenozolol. He would subsequently admit to the use of performance-enhancing drugs between the years 1981 and 1988. And as a result of this admission, he was stripped of both his gold medal and his record runtime of 9.79 seconds. Naturally, the silver medal winner, Carl Lewis, was thus awarded the gold medal. Sadly though, it would not remain that simple. Lewis himself had tested positive for these 3 drugs that I'm going to flash on the screen that I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce. And his excuse was he had ingested the drugs accidentally. Oh, but wait, get this. For literally the first time in recorded sports and human history, he was actually telling the truth.
What?
Or at least the committee believed him, as Lewis was not stripped of his medal or his runtime. Neither was Linford Christie, who was found to have metabolites of this drug in a urine test, and he too was cleared of any wrongdoing. In 2013, a radio documentary titled Ben Johnson, A Hero Disgraced, was broadcast, commemorating the 25th anniversary of the race. For the first time, new information was brought to light, and it was revealed that 20 athletes in total tested positive for performance-enhancing substances, but were subsequently cleared by the International Olympic Committee. With so many athletes testing positive for drugs, it's no wonder the 100-meter race was coined the dirtiest race in history. It more than earned that distinction. An oldie but a goodie, Mike Tyson. Tyson is one of the most recognizable names in the history of professional boxing. His resume and talents are unquestioned. Unfortunately, so are his various reputations. For this video only, we're going to be focusing on his reputation as a cheater. And for this, we'll have to go all the way back to the 20th century. On June 28, 1997, Tyson and fellow boxer Evander Holyfield took to the ring for what was a rematch from their match the previous year, which Holyfield won by technical knockout. The first match brought in massive publicity, both positive and negative. It was bogged down repeatedly by accusations by Tyson's camp of Holyfield's frequent headbutts, which were ruled accidental by the referee. Tyson, however, badly disagreed, and he was going to make sure everybody knew that. The rematch itself was stopped in the 3rd round, with Tyson being disqualified. Why was he disqualified? Well, he decided to sink his teeth into both of Holyfield's ears. No, really. And not just once, but twice. The first time he pulled the stunt, he was let off with a warning and a 2-point penalty. But the second time? No good. The fight was stopped and Tyson was disqualified. It was the first heavyweight title fight in half a century to end in a disqualification, and it resulted in a massive riot in the arena with several injuries reported. Tyson did apologize for biting his ears, but the damage had been done. You see, in the aftermath of the fight, his boxing license was rescinded by the Nevada State Athletic Commission in a unanimous vote, with $3 million fine and legal costs imposed on him. Okay, so Tyson is screwed out of being able to box in Nevada, right? Well,
Wrong.
see, most state athletic commissions honor sanctions that are imposed by other states. This effectively meant that Tyson was screwed, unable to box anywhere in the United States unless and until the decision was reversed, which it eventually was in October of 1998. So Tyson did eventually get his career back, but that infamous moment, that fateful night, has forever been etched into sports lore as a despicable act of cheating and a somewhat amusing blooper highlight. At least Holyfield won the rematch. We'll close out this video by going to the 2000 Paralympic Games for perhaps one of, if not, the most reprehensible displays of cheating in recent memory. The Paralympic Games are a series of international multi-sport events starring athletes with a range of disabilities, both physical and mental. Apparently, the Spanish basketball team decided this was a suggestion, not a rule. Yes, these people cheated simply by playing. Here's the story. Head coach at the time, Fernando Vicente Martin, allowed athletes with no physical or mental disabilities to compete in order to win the gold medal, which they did after smacking around Team Russia a thousand times by a score of 87-63. That's quite the walloping. Here's where it gets ugly. Investigations into the matter revealed that the tests normally performed on participants, where an IQ score of 75 or worse was required to be eligible, were not, in fact, conducted by the Spanish Paralympic Committee. Further investigations revealed that some participants in the table tennis, track and field, and swimming events were also not disabled. This meant that as many as 5 medals had been illegitimately won. Of course, Vicente Martin initially denied the accusations. but then publicly apologized for it and accepted full responsibility, resigning his position as head coach just before the official findings were released. As a result of his actions, he was suspended by the International Paralympics Committee and then expelled by the Spanish Paralympic Committee. Yikes. And what was the coach's justification for pulling this stunt? According to reports, it was to, quote, win medals and gain sponsorships. Yes, because that is what the Paralympics are all about. He surely knew what he was talking about. But the fallout didn't stop there, and it was massive. The IPC moved immediately to suspend all sporting activities involving intellectual disabilities, citing, quote, difficulties in determining the eligibility of athletes. Athletes with disabilities were eventually slowly reintegrated into the Paralympic sports competitions, but it wasn't until November of 2009 that the full ban was officially lifted. Thank you for ruining it for everyone else, jerk. If this video taught you anything, it's that cheating does not pay. It's not worth it. This was only a handful of famous and talented athletes whose reputations and credibilities were destroyed because they decided they needed just a little bit extra advantage, or a nice ego boost. Either way, take this to heart. Don't cheat. It's not worth it. And if you're going to cheat, at least don't be an idiot about it. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, I hope that you'll consider subscribing to our channel. Don't forget to hit that little bell for notifications. We'll have more videos just like this one on the way coming soon.